And we are back, everybody. How are you all doing? It is your host, Eric Lyons, and this is Metallicus Live, where we, similar to how we bring sand to the beach, we bring some of the most brilliant and intriguing minds from both the crypto industry and the industries from beyond our horizons right to your ears. So, speaking of brilliance, today's going to be an exciting episode. We get to hear from two of our superstars that have a hand in creating a lot of the magic here at Metallicus. Some would even say that they're magicians, but we'll let them speak on that. You may have heard from her on a couple of our earlier episodes around the Money 2020. We had the VP of Product, Karen McHenry, and for the first time on Metallicus Live, we have the absolute pleasure to introduce you all to the VP of Engineering, Maura Wilder. Karen, Maura, thank y'all so much for coming out to the show. How are you two doing?
Hey, Eric. Good. We're both freezing here in Boston. We both happen to live not too far away from each other in Boston, and we're getting a cold snap coming in, but staying warm indoors.
Yeah, hi Eric, and hi everybody. It's really great to be here. It's pretty exciting. Yeah, yes, I'm cold, but I'm also really pumped to talk to everybody about all the cool things that Metallicus has built and are building.
And it's an absolute pleasure to have you both on here as well. But one thing that's definitely going to warm my hearts and everybody's hearts in here is just having this moment to just sit down and talk with the both of you and just having our community be able just to indulge as to what is not only going on here at Metallicus, but just getting to know the both of you all as well. But it's getting a little chilly here in the Bay Area, but I'm glad you all are here. So, just to get everybody a little bit introduced with you both, and we can start with Karen on this one. Can you tell us a bit about your career background leading up to your journey here at Metallicus?
Sure. So I got my first degree in economics and French, and I kind of started my career in the traditional financial industry at first at State Street Bank and then at Morgan Stanley. I worked as both an accountant and in the international custody division. And while I was there, I found that I was always the geek that was hanging out with the developers all the time and reporting bugs and researching bugs. And um, so after a while, I decided that I wanted to get a degree in computer science. So I went back to school and I got a master's in computer science. And then coming out of that, I started with a bit with like computer security and internet. I worked for a little while in child internet protection, and then I found the place that I really wanted to be was in product management, but with more of a technical flair. So I then went to TripAdvisor when it was just a startup. TripAdvisor's the founder is here in the Boston area, um, and I did product management for their fraud protection department for many years until I found crypto. And that was partially because of my interest in computer science and cryptography and my background in the traditional financial system. And also, I had lived in England for a while and had gone through, realized the painful process it is to try to send money across borders. I had some troubles with that, and when I learned of crypto, I thought, ah, that's the solution. Um, so I moved. I went to Circle Internet Financial, which is where Maura and I first met, and then Poloniex Exchange, and then I found my true home at Metallicus. So, but I'll let Maura share a little bit about her background.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. So I am, I'm a software engineer. I I've been coding since high school. I got a computer science degree right in my first college experience, and my first job was actually working in a field that isn't really commonly known right now, but it was called computer-aided software engineering at the time. So it's kind of funny because we worked on code generation, and that's even, come full circle where there's a lot of code generators these days. So I've been in the technical track pretty much my whole career, just doing lots of coding, going from technology to technology, company to company. I've worked at every sort of company you can imagine. A small interactive design agency where we built some really amazing interactive tools and applications. A Fortune 500 company, which was a data engineering company, and we built some, enterprise grade software. That was a great experience. I was a co-founder of a small consulting company during the dot-com boom. That was a really great experience growing a company. And we had some really a great team there. And we did a lot of fintech work at that company. And then I was at this explosive fantasy sports startup that some of you may have heard of called DraftKings. I was the second engineer there and worked there for quite a while. That was an amazing experience. That experience was in the world of 24/7, 365, always up software, burst, burst traffic, any kind of challenges you can imagine on online traffic we experienced there. And then I went to Circle where I did meet Karen, and we worked on financial applications there, on crypto applications. Moved over to Poloniex, where we built some amazing things there. A new awesome high performance trade engine, and then I couldn't help but when I learned about the opportunity at Metallicus to come join Metallicus, and that's where I am today. It's back to you, Eric.
I love it. I love it. So, out of curiosity, Maura, like you said, you've been everywhere in a lot of these different places that you're building your expertise in coding. I'm just curious, and I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this the best way, but it's just like how different was the code, especially once you started moving to the crypto industry from, say, fantasy sports and all of that.
Well, I have to say it. You have the same challenges regardless of the industry, right? What happens is the domain changes. So in fintech, you've got the, numbers. What's a bank account? What are, that sort of thing. Fantasy sports, the domain is all the sports. Like I know sports inside and out. And it wasn't just from working there. I'm also a huge sports fan, but the domain is different. And crypto is just a totally different domain, right? So when you're in crypto, you have to learn how to read block explorers. You have to learn how to, what is a smart contract? How do you read one? How do you write one? How do you interact with one? Um, but the programming, the underlying concepts really are the same. So that's been a pretty exciting thing about being a software engineer over the decades is you get to see the different technologies, the different languages, the different platforms, and it's always changing, and that makes it fun.
Exactly. Yeah, that was like one thing I was about to say. It's just always changing, and you just build it up from scratch, and the possibilities go beyond this endlessness, doesn't it? Would you say that?
Yeah. I mean, this is the newest frontier, right? There's going to be another one after this one, and there was another one before this one. Like I
I
said
hear you.
earlier, I had a company during the dot-com boom, and that was a different frontier. That was really when the internet was coming into its own, and that was pretty amazing being in on the ground. I mean, I coded in JavaScript when it was first out, when it was first launched, and even that is such a totally different language now than it was then.
Would you say that we're at the start of this new frontier, like just at the very beginning stages, or are we pretty far into it?
Oh no, we're definitely early on in crypto right now. There's still so much innovation to happen.
Now, Karen, you brought up something that was interesting. You said that when you were spending time in England, you said it was kind of tricky trying to transfer money back from England to the U.S. What opportunities did you see out of crypto from that?
Yeah, we had some rather painful experiences. I don't know if I'm sure some people on the call here have been through it, but and I think most people don't know, but if you're sending more than $10,000, it takes more than a week, and that's you're kind of sitting on pins and needles, and making sure you're getting a good forex rate, and physically going to the bank and signing paperwork, and it's just it feels like ancient times. Um, but then I remember when I was interviewing for Circle. My future boss said, "Oh, I just moved from Dublin last week, and I transferred all of my savings at Saturday night at 10 o'clock, and it took 10 minutes." And I was just like, "Oh, that's the answer." I still think that's one of the greatest opportunities for crypto is cross-border payments, because it is such a pain point for so many people around the world.
I solemnly agree, and we'll get to this in a moment. But just even the fact that like even with Metal Pay for the longest time, just being only a domestic United States product, but now that folks over in Europe are able to transfer and utilize funds, and it is kind of making those distances just seem a lot more closer and neighboring. It's kind of shocking, and it's just making everything more instantaneous and more accessible for anybody and everybody from whatever parameter of the world they're coming from.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was speaking to a young woman that's also in the community, and she's actually in marketing, but she's a huge proponent of crypto now. So I asked her how she got involved in this space. And she was telling me that she lives in Hong Kong and she came here for university. And she had a lot of pain because her parents would send the payments for her tuition to the school, and they would inevitably be late, and she would end up losing access to like her email account, and her not being able to get her grades or her library books and things like that. And so that's how she then heard about crypto and thought, again, there's a solution, there's a better way, there's a solution out there.
And so, out of curiosity, Karen, and you said you started out in the traditional finance sector. Do you keep in contact with a lot of those colleagues? And if so, has have they shared thoughts around cryptocurrency or web chain or Web3 or blockchain?
um, I don't come in contact with those particular colleagues anymore, but one of the things that does surprise me is I still have some good friends from TripAdvisor that are some of the best engineers I've ever worked with, and it always shocks me when they say, "Oh, crypto's dumb. It's a scam. There's no use for blockchain." Um, and a part of me thinks, yes, if you're a privileged person in the United States, someone said to me recently, "There's nothing wrong with the current banking system," and I'm like, "Really?" That's an interesting take.
Fascinating.
Yeah, but again, if you're like I said, I think if you're a privileged person that can afford to ignore a lot of the bumps in the road of the current financial system, it's easy to ignore. But I think for the vast majority of the world, um, crypto is a solution to a lot of the world's problems, so financially.
So, do you think it just like in So does it make you believe that it gives everybody or as many people a chance or a seat at the table when it comes to having like financial literacy and accessibility?
That's the dream, right?
Yeah, that's definitely the end result of what some people envision in terms of this Web3 society and this new frontier that Maura mentioned for sure. Awesome. So, how has the journey been thus far with Metallicus? Karen, I know you've been here a little bit longer, but Maura, you came in and let's start with you. It kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah, it's been amazing. So, for a lot of people who don't know, I've been here about 3/4 of a year, so not terribly long. Um, but what was really exciting when I started is, I over my last couple of roles at Circle and Poloniex, where I had a lot of exposure to crypto and cryptocurrencies and blockchain, I basically started forming a vision of what I thought the future of, cryptocurrency is. And it's going to be integrated in my opinion, it's going to be integrated into everything we do, right? It's the money of the internet, right? A lot of times now, let's see, the internet is missing some things, right? It's missing a really good identity solution, and it's missing a really good payment solution. And blockchain has the ability to solve both of those problems. And when I joined Metallicus, even before I joined Metallicus, when I was talking to Marshall and all the other people at the company, I found that their vision matched mine so closely. I was like, I gotta go here, right? This is the place I have to be. This is the place I have to work on this vision because they have a shared vision. Um, and so we've been working on that sort of stuff since I've started, right? We're working on decentralized identity. We're working on payments to make payments more readily available to people. Um, it's been great, Eric. It's really been great.
It's been great having you so far. It's been awesome. Now, what about you, Karen? You've been here a little bit longer. How's the journey been thus far?
Yeah, I would echo a lot of what Maura just said. I always, from the beginning of my crypto journey, I also believed that um, regulated crypto was the way of the future. I know there are a lot of gray areas out there, and I always thought that that time was not going to last of um, regularity, gray areas. And so that was another thing that drew me to Metallicus. As we all know, Marshall has this vision of bringing crypto and banking together in a regulated fashion. So I share that dream as well. I think Maura does too. Um, and what I'm really enjoying is that when I'd say that we're really in this phase of maturing from a startup into a more mature company, and that's the real sweet spot of the fun part of a company. And I think Maura and I have both been a part, and I think we feel privileged to bring some of the experience that we have coming from startups. That because I know Maura was at DraftKings when it was startup as well, going through that maturing phase, which like an adolescent, it can there can be painful growing pains, but we're on the cusp of really becoming a mature company that's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the industry.
You heard it here, folks. We're getting there. We're getting to that point, and honestly, to chime in myself, being here for 3+ years, you definitely seen the difference and the way not only has our products grown, but just the way the company, the brand, our presence, and even just the industry around us have just been growing and progressive in a progressive manner. It's just even when Marshall says the whole 1 year in crypto is like 10 years. It's not a joke because
We live it every day, right?
absolutely, absolutely. Like, and even thinking off the top of my head right now is how recent has the topic of crypto and banking been kind of like in that same sentence? Like I've always been used to it being more separate up until like the last year or two, at least in terms of discussion topics, you
Right.
know? But
I would also say
yeah,
too that, since Maura came on board, I think the one thing that she said to me quite often is, I can't believe how many projects are being worked on all at the same time and how much we're building. I've never been in a place that's built so much so quickly.
I solemnly agree. We listed out a couple episodes ago all of the products and features that came out on MetalPay, Proton, and Metal Blockchain as a whole, and you guys can listen to it on the 2022 wrap up episode, and it's about 2 minutes long about the amount of stuff that came out within the past year. So go crazy, everybody! Now you actually just brought something up, Karen, and I want to hear from you both, obviously, on this. But you first, please, Karen. How how's that process look about delegating what product to work on as opposed to another? Like, how does the focus and the projects come into fruition, especially between engineering and product?
Yep. That's part of the magic trick of being a product manager, especially at a place like Metallicus. It's a lot of being able to spin a lot of plates or keep a lot of plates spinning at the same time. But we definitely have a process in mind, and if at all possible, we prioritize customer experience improvements, and then second in line, which is also always the balancing act, is security, regulation, compliance. So we try our best to sort of sprinkle those two things together, and ensure that we come out with a new feature, a new product that is meaningful to our customers, improves the experience, provides solves a problem that they're having. But at the same time, we're building the back end systems in a way that we're compliant, that isn't going to endanger any of our banking licenses, and keeps both our customers and our company safe.
And Karen, or so does a lot of these plans or projects or delegations, do they change whenever something within the industry has to adjust, or
Somewhat. I think we've been fortunate enough that we've made a lot of good decisions along the way. So, about a year or so ago, or even maybe a little bit more, we were having discussions of, you know, we're we're really not competitive with interest rates on storage of crypto, and all of our competitors are offering these outrageous interest rates, and we should really be offering them. Why would someone use MetalPay and not get 10% interest on their USDC? But as everyone knows, there's no interest rates without risk if you really think about it. And so we decided to kind of take the competitive hit and not offer that service because we didn't feel it was safe for our customers or ourselves. And it turns out, as we've all seen over the past 6 months, that there was quite a bit of risk involved with those interest rates, and a lot of customers of those companies lost their funds. I actually lost a bit of money myself, not much, but thankfully. Um, so we haven't had to make a huge adjustment based on recent issues because we've been making the right decisions along the way.
thank you for letting me know about that. That's wow. Mara, so Out of curiosity, I got to ask you the same question as well. How like the day to days, especially working alongside with product and being on the engineering team. What does that journey look like, especially like throughout the day or planning those projects, if at all different?
Well, I got to say first that Karen is a really great plate spinner, right? And her whole team, designing, you know, you know, fleshing out these project ideas. They do an amazing job. They're experts at user design, graphic design, um, user interactions. And so when they give us a product to work on, the engineers a product to work on, we know we're gonna build something that's gonna be really great. Okay, so that's the first thing is when we get that, we have something we know we can believe in, and that's kind of important for an engineer. You want to build something that people are going to use, right? And then the engineering team here is just amazing. They're so dedicated, the dedicated engineers. So day to day, different people are working on different projects. As you said earlier, we have a lot of stuff that we ship. In fact, one of our core values is build relentlessly, and by golly, we do. We build relentlessly, and that takes a lot of coordination. And the engineers they're really quite amazing how much they juggle. Right? Some of them will bounce back and forth on different projects, even within a day, and hopefully we try not to do that as much as we can. We try to swarm on projects and get them done. But sometimes there's just so much going on, we have to bounce, bounce from one to the other. And of course, like Karen said, we have to make sure everything's secure, everything's compliant. And that's not just the product offerings, right? That's also our platform, our infrastructure. We strive to be completely secure. We want everybody's, information to be private. Uh, we just passed a SOC audit, which is really a testament to how great and everybody at the company is, and it's a testament to what we're trying to do here at the company.
One thing that really just stood out from what both of you just said is the amount of things or aspects that have to take precedent, not just only within the Department of Engineering and the Department of Product. It's focusing on the compliance part, the legal aspect. Everything has to be factored in from your day to days and bailing out these perfect and fully robust platforms and making those magic happen. Um, and that's something I didn't even think about. And I work alongside you guys from cross department, of course, but it's just it's interesting how much has to go into consideration just before being implemented and being planned out.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing you mentioned that I didn't even mention is, the legal process, right? So updating terms of service and, ensuring that we're not introducing any new privacy risk or financial risk when we launch a new feature. So yeah, the list of considerations for new features is pretty lengthy. And even just updating the knowledge center and updating, which of course the CS team is phenomenal at, and ensuring that the CS and compliance team are aware of all the new functionality and how it works, and ensuring that everyone is able to help customers if they get stuck. So yeah, it's kind of amazing that we push out so many new features along with everything that goes behind it.
Yeah, I wanted to add on one thing to that. I'm not sure everybody's aware, but because we have to be compliant with so many different jurisdictions, and every jurisdiction has their own rules and their own laws. And when I say jurisdiction, this could be an individual state in the U.S. It could be a country. It could be a region. Even individual product features. we may be able to offer it in one jurisdiction, but not another. So imagine being able to offer things everywhere, like except, 2 states. So that's extra engineering that has to go in, right, to make sure, not just engineering, but testing, right? Um, so it's a lot of work, but the team does an amazing job at that.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Now, out of curiosity, and I would love to hear from you first on this, Maura. From a technical standpoint, what is the biggest? I don't want to say concern, but it can also be an opportunity. What is the biggest opportunity in the crypto industry as of right now?
That's a good question. Right now, with everything that happened in 2022, things like bridge hacks and what happened with Terra Luna, FTX. I think a big problem right now is trust, right? Like a lot of companies, the crypto industry in general has lost the trust of a lot of people. I mean, that's not a technical problem, trust, right? That's just a real world problem. But there are technical solutions that can help with trust to improve trust, right? Um, there's a lot of things that we can do. Things like proof of assets and liabilities, um, decentralized identity, so putting data in the hands of the individual, so you own your own data, and then you don't have to give out your data to someone. I mean, if somebody needs to know that you're over 21, they don't need your license, right? They don't need your license that has your name, your address, all this private information. All they have to know is that you really are over 21. And that's in the future. I know that's in the future of decentralized identity. So I think that's a big problem that we can try to solve with technology. Trust, get people to trust in this, um, trust in crypto, trust in blockchain, and trust in the people who are operating that.
So eloquently put. I appreciate that, Maura. Yeah, Karen, in your thoughts, in your opinion, what opportunities face the crypto industry right now?
Yeah, I kind of love this because, Maura's coming from a little bit more of a technological approach, and my product mind says that we still haven't made crypto easy enough, understandable enough, and solving day to day issues for the average person. So I think we tend to forget because, once you've been in the industry for a while, it all seems really easy and understandable. But um, I'm sure you've all also had the situation where you've been at a party and people, look at you cross-eyed when you say the word cryptocurrency. So I think, and it is scary. It's very scary, the thought of um, keeping your private keys private and safe, and we're still at that phase where people only have had to keep them for a couple of years now. You imagine, if this is my life savings that I want to, you know, give to my children after I'm gone, how am I going to ensure that my private keys are safe and private for 20, 40, 60 years, right? So I think there's still a lot of just basic customer centric ease of use problems that need to be solved before we can move forward. And I think, Proton and WebAuth and all of the Metallicus products like are aware of that issue. So, the way our products are set up, MetalPay is kind of like the beginner crypto app. So it's very easy to use. It's quite intuitive. It's not scary looking. It's got a fun lightness to it. Then WebAuth is the more advanced product, and but again, like, so the being able to use a human readable name, right? That's a huge step forward for your address. So, a grandparent can feel comfortable sending a Bitcoin to @Johnny versus, uh, OXBETC, blah, 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 right? Um, so that's one new step in the direction. And then with the WebAuth technology of essentially turning your phone into a Trezor, that's another step in the technology and using biometrics to identify yourself. That we're moving down that path of making crypto available to the masses.
Right, and it's coming out one feature, one service at a time, and just the way that each are being grown out, it's a sight to see. Let's talk about MetalPay really quickly. We've recently announced a partnership with Checkout.com. Um, for those that might not have been aware of this, Karen, could you explain the changes and benefits that it brings to MetalPay?
Sure. So one of the key attributes of MetalPay is that first of all, you get a full bank account, a DDA account with your just MetalPay sign up. But also, MetalPay is an important on ramp from fiat money into crypto, and Checkout.com is another fiat on ramp. So both in the U.S. and Europe, customers can link their debit card and buy USDC with your fiat. We're adding we're adding credit cards in the very near future. And that's really only been delayed because of the credit card companies have understandably become a little bit more strict accepting crypto payments after the FTX collapse. So we didn't want to provide a customer experience that was just going to be frustrating. But we're adding credit cards soon, and then soon we'll be adding Apple Pay, Google Pay, off ramps. So we'll continue to add more features in our partnership with Checkout.com. But again, just that important step of fiat on ramps and off ramps for our customers.
Whoa, Apple Pay, Google Pay with MetalPay?
You heard it here first.
Woo! That's exciting to hear, actually. I'm sure a lot of people in the community just hearing this for the first time. I hope you get some excitement out of that, because personally, I am just being able to have MetalPay and bring it into a store. Because conceptually, you can still have direct deposit on MetalPay right now, and you
Yes.
can pay anybody on MetalPay. Like, let's say, if you have a barber and they line up your haircut and everything, you can pay them that way. But that next step, having Google Pay, MetalPay, Apple Pay, that just broadens our horizons and one more step towards retail. No.
Yes. Yep.
But uh, as Maura said, that's kind of where the trust, especially with other credit card companies, that's where the trust has to come in and has to be rebuilt. Is that correct?
Exactly.
So the community, we got some work to do. We gotta keep spreading out the good word and just show out the benefits. But so, can people go on the wait list right now for the upcoming credit card?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. On metalpay.com, there's a link to the credit card, and you can put your email address on and get on the wait list for the credit card.
I love it. I love it. So you said that MetalPay is an important on ramp with the Proton WebAuth ecosystem. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah. So right now, if you're using WebAuth, there's no easy fiat on ramp. There's wire functionality, but if you download and create an account with MetalPay, you can use MetalPay as your fiat on ramp, and then what's even better is you can send USDC, Proton, Metal over to your WebAuth wallet with zero gas fees. So you can start to enjoy the important feature of zero gas fees on Proton. And then again, you can enjoy the Proton products, DeFi products you can lend money, you can borrow money, you can use the new DEX for trading. So you can really move back and forth seamlessly between the two ecosystems.
So what is the Proton DEX? So from the point of view in CS, a lot of customers message in and they're familiar with MetalPay, but not necessarily Proton, or they're familiar with Proton and not necessarily MetalPay. So just being able to bridge these gaps and using platforms like Proton DEX, what does that mean?
I'm going to throw that
for a
one over
customer?
to Maura. If you want to describe the
Yeah.
DEX.
Sure, sure. So I'll just say when you buy crypto from MetalPay, um, you're buying it from us, right? We'll buy some for you and then we'll sell it to you. But on a DEX is an exchange, right? It's a decentralized exchange. When you buy crypto on an exchange, you're buying it from somebody else. So the implementation of the DEX is a smart contract. So the smart contract runs on Proton. If I want to sell some of my, say, Bitcoin, I would put in an order and say, I would like to sell this Bitcoin. The smart contract will lock that Bitcoin up until somebody comes in with a matching offer to buy it. So you're not buying it from a central body, right? It's a smart contract. So it's closer to peer to peer. I guess it is peer to peer. And that's what the DEX is. You can buy and sell with other people in the community. Does that answer your question, Eric?
I think it does.
All
Now,
right.
out of curiosity, for those who may not know, what in the simplest terms, how can you explain a smart contract?
Well, a smart contract is code. So if anybody knows, uh, I don't know how technical I should get, but it's code that runs on the blockchain, right? It's a program. It's a computer program, um, and it can call into other computer programs that are running on the blockchain. So when you interact with it, you're basically executing some code.
And it all stays within the Proton system or ecosystem in this case.
Right, right. And a lot of the actions are related to cryptocurrencies, right? Moving them around or adding or subtracting from different addresses or wallets. But you can do other things with that, right? Anything you can run in code. I mean, there are some limits what you can do, but you could run other things on a smart contract. You could do a hello world on a smart contract.
So on that point, this is kind of veering off to the side a little bit, but in regards to the code with Proton, I've heard that it's easy for people to build on Proton. Can
Yeah,
you
I
speak
mean,
on that?
we have it is easy. We've got docs. We've got docs.proton.org. And we've got some libraries that the team has built, a couple of libraries in TypeScript and, well, actually an NPM package, so TypeScript or JavaScript, and and a Python package. So it makes it really easy to get started quickly if you want to use one of these packages, because that package will help you with the signing process. I think that's the trickiest thing with any blockchain is you have to sign transactions, and that's a cryptographic thing that you have to do. So you need your private key. You need to sign it. And a lot of people don't need to know the technical details of that because when you're interacting with a user interface, you know, the web browser, your app, you usually have a wallet, like a crypto wallet, and you sign usually by pressing buttons. But when you're going through an application, there's more to it than that, right? There's some cryptography involved. But we make that super easy because we've made libraries that we've packaged up. So you could write your own interaction with the smart contracts that are there already.
That's
So,
exciting.
so that's
That's ex-
writing against, yeah.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Oh no, that's okay. There's different. So that's writing against a smart contract, and then there are libraries to help you write smart contracts also.
Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. That's amazing, though. It just gives everybody an opportunity to join this space and be a part of it and build the same way not only that we are, but
Yeah,
everybody can
and
build their own.
Eric, it's an open source system, right? So you can go on like GitHub, for instance, and find some of these smart contracts and other libraries, and you can fork them yourselves and change it to your heart's content, right? Someone else can build a DEX, someone else could build an NFT marketplace. You can do that because the resources are there.
Out of curiosity, have being people being able to build out their own protocols and formats. As this is do you think is more widespread than ever, or given that people having the opportunity to be able to do this now?
I'm not sure how to answer your question.
Yeah,
I think
It,
he's saying,
yeah.
the revolution of open source code. Is it making it
Oh,
more accessible to everyone?
oh,
yes,
it
yes.
absolutely is making it more accessible. There's so many things you can do now. Like, I mean, you could build really sophisticated apps or smart contracts you know, with not a lot of effort. I mean, there's a lot of knowledge that you need to know, but there's also a lot of great training resources out there, right? And we've got some ourselves, right? If you look at our docs, if you look at our YouTube channels, um, we have a lot of that.
I think the only tricky piece is it's also easy to get yourself into trouble, right? Write a smart contract that has a hole in it that can be hacked easily.
It is, and that's a concern. I mean, that's why we get our smart contracts
Right.
audited, right? But there is a test net. So Proton has a test net. Metal Blockchain has a test net. If you have any ideas and you want to build an application, you can test it out on the test net.
How can people
Um,
find this testnet?
well, it's at um, I'd say go to first to docs.proton.org is the best way on the for the for the Proton blockchain, and you can find a link in there. Because I would give you a link to the testnet. However, it's really multiple testnets because you need a testnet access to the testnet block explorer, access to the testnet, um, Dex if you want to work on the Dex. There's multiple websites, so just go to docs.proton.org to find that.
And
Sounds
I
great.
mean,
You're here to hear
Yep.
first, everybody.
Maura's actually even built a node on Metal Blockchain in her spare time.
Yeah, if anybody's interested, it's one of our community manager, Marlon, has put together a really amazing resource for getting metal blockchain nodes up and running. And I got one up and running, I don't know, in just half a day maybe. I run it now. It's really super easy to keep up and running. Like some blockchains, it's not easy. I know because when I was at Poloniex, we ran a blockchain node for every single blockchain that we supported, and some of them were incredibly difficult to run, but Metal Blockchain is very easy to run. So I'd encourage anybody, if they're interested, to give it a try.
And where can they go and try that at?
Well, for that, you can go to docs.metalblockchain.com, and you click on the nodes menu item, and it has it has the basics there, but then you can go to Marlon's resource, which is metalstaking.com, and there's some great guides there.
Well, first of all, shout out to Marlon, big member
Yeah,
of the community, big member of our team.
And we
Also,
can
Karen,
confirm he's
thank
a
you for
real
helping.
person, right?
Yep,
you
he's
can.
definitely. I've definitely seen him a couple times in person, so he's real nice. First of all, Karen, thank you for helping me out with my question because I was just so eager, and as I was thinking about it, I was just stumbling on my words. So I appreciate the lob on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're about run on time right now. But it's been such an awesome conversation with you both, Karen and Maura. Before we close it out, is there anything else you would like to mention?
No, I mean, I would just like to say, if there's anyone in the audience that's a doubter or a skeptic, Metallicus is the real deal. We really are building for the future. Um, we believe in regulation and compliance and legal, and we care very, very deeply about keeping our customer funds safe. So if you're looking for a new home in the world of cryptocurrency, and this is a good place to be. Anything you want to add, Maura? Maura and I wouldn't be here if that wasn't the
I,
case.
I would say, like, I encourage people to build on Proton, build on Metal Blockchain, give it a try. I know it's a technical thing, and it may not be that easy, but the Metal Blockchain, for instance, I don't even think you have to be terribly technical to follow the instructions there. I think a lot of people can do it. And if you are technical, try your hand at a smart contract or running something against, our DEX, like a bot against our DEX or something. It's the resources are out there, so you can get started and you can get to see like what is really involved in this ecosystem, and join the Telegram channels. There's some Telegram channels um, for Proton and Metal Blockchain. It's it's a great community. Everybody's really helpful there.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we should emphasize once again is just if anybody ever does want to be a part of the community, whether it be Proton or Metal Blockchain or Metal Pay, like the door is always open. And if you want to try your hand on building on Proton or building on Metal Blockchain, testing out a lot of our products, by all means, please ask away, ask our community. Everybody helps everybody within that community. And even the client services team helps out everybody. So we want to make sure everybody learns it, understands it, and if you got any questions, then never be afraid to just reach out to us. But
We'd also
I gotta thank you
appreciate
both.
feedback. I'd love feedback on the product. So if you have any ideas or issues or anything, please always feel free. We do listen to feedback and try to solve it. So, Twitter, email, Zendesk, whatever. Shake your phone. I don't know how many of you know this, but if you're using MetalPay and you shake your phone, you can submit a ticket to us and we read them. So please utilize any avenues that you can and give us feedback.
I second that because this feedback helps us grow and it helps us improve. But Karen, Maura, thank you both so much for taking the time to come on Metallicus Live. It's been so awesome getting to talk to you both again.
You too.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Eric.
Have a great
Yeah,
weekend, everyone.
so yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. This is Metallicus Live. Thank you, everybody, on our Twitter Spaces. This will be live on our podcast platforms, and you can find Metallicus Live on every streaming platform where you get your podcasts available. That's Spotify, that's Apple, that's Amazon, you name it. But you can also join in on these Twitter Spaces, and we're trying to do these weekly. So follow us at Metallicus. Oh no, excuse me, at We Are Metallicus, and that's how you can find more information about us. I've been your host, Eric Lyons. It's been a pleasure. Have a great weekend.